This is an extraordinary story. It's just absolutely wonderful. So let's start at the very beginning. So 4th of January, as we said, you missed your train. Freezing cold, as we can imagine.
Yeah, it's cold, yeah.
You're standing outside the station, which is shut down.
Yeah.
And there's no way of getting home. When you hear someone's voice, and what do they say?
Well, it was a bit of a shock at first, but we then heard a voice from behind me and said, "Do you want to come over here and get under my duvet and borrow my coat because it's a long way and it's freezing tonight?" And as I turned round, that was the first time we saw Joey.
Now, initially, of course, if someone says, "Do you want to come over here and get under the duvet and keep warm?" You know, that story, you think, "Oh, hold on a second,
Yeah.
what's going on here?" So what got you through? Because we'll come to your barrier in just a moment. What got you through that barrier? That this is actually okay?
I think you
It's
could just tell.
yeah.
You could just tell he was just genuinely there to
Yeah.
help someone out, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain.
And in a way, it was a deed for a deed, a good deed for a good
Which is
deed.
a lovely thing to do, and you offered a little bit of warmth and kindness. You're freezing, and that could have been where the story ended. But it rolled so much bigger than that. It became into such a huge snowball. So
Yeah.
what happened next?
Well, as we got talking, I was obviously in a coat under his duvet that Joey kindly gave to me, and I just realised how cold it was, and I was literally shivering. And as we was waiting for our train, when we first thought we were originally going to get the train home, and that's when I was like, I can't leave him here, I can't leave him here, and we can't wait any longer for this train, so you're going to have to come with us.
It's amazing how much we got to know him in the space of like, half an hour.
So you suggested that he come back to yours, have a good night's sleep in a bed, have some food, have a haircut, have just a restful night, just as a thank you. What were you thinking at this point? Because suddenly it swings the other way. You must be going, hang on a minute.
This is your barrier.
It took a lot of persuading to... They asked me to come back, and it went on for 10, 15 minutes. At first, I had to get back to the start where I could understand when you're out in the cold. Well, I was being myself. I could understand they were cold as well, so I could feel they needed a little help.
Yeah.
But when someone says, "Right, OK, come back with us. Come back with us. We'll put you up for the night. We'll feed you. You'll be fine." You must have thought, "Oh no, hang on a second."
Yeah, there was a couple of doubts in my mind, because you don't really get a lot of people doing that.
No.
And
no.
especially out in the streets, it's come across two good people. They're taking their time a day and just to trust you to come back.
Well, you've been on the streets for about 10 weeks or so.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah.
And this is a very personal story to you, so we won't go into any great details. But nevertheless, and we've said this a number of times, we are all only a couple of steps from a combination of things going wrong, and then you suddenly find out, hang on a second, I don't have a roof, and it was a relationship, and then it was the job, and then suddenly you're out, and then you can't get back in again.
Yeah.
And that's more or less your sort of story. So you went back and you're in the annex. Did you tell your parents? You've got a homeless guy who's living in...
Yeah, my mum, I knew she'd be fine straight away. My dad, he surprised me. It was actually fine, but I didn't tell him for about 5 days.
Because it wasn't then and overnight. It
Yeah.
rolled on.
I couldn't. After the first night, he wasn't Joey the homeless guy. He was our friend. It's Joey, and there was no way that we was going to send him back.
So he's living with you. Your parents met and agree that there's something about Joey, that he's just a lovely guy. And there's lots of people in this story that have then gone on to help. It started off with your original act of kindness. And then we meet Jenny and Brad, who have come down with you here today, who actually, as you said, have been sort of very important about getting him onto the next run of the ladder. So what did they do?
So we realised, obviously, because we live with Charlotte's parents, it obviously may not be practical to have Joey staying there, obviously, because there's only a certain amount of beds, kind of thing.
Yeah.
When Jenny and Brad met him for the first time the next day, they fell in love with him just like we did, and they live on their own, so they had a spare room, and they offered it to him, and then it turned out that Brad could also get him a job as well. So.
And you talk about incorporating yourself. I mean, you must be such a lovely bloke. Everybody says. So they gave you a phone. Some friends gave you some new clothes. You went to gigs with them. You played football with the boys. You helped Mum feed the horses. Yes. So you really have. Suddenly life must be feeling pretty good.
Yes, it's a completely whole new experience for me. The way to come across to get work from friends of themselves, it's been life-changing. Where I'm working now at the moment, Rylands, landscape and gardening. They've been absolutely fantastic with me as well.
Ryland's landscaping
Ryland's
garden?
landscaping, yeah.
I'm not right.
What the hell's he got to do with it?
Don't trust him, Ryland.
So you're training to be a tree surgeon?
Yes, at the moment, yeah. So it's been absolutely uplifting. Words can't describe. The people I've been around with, their families, are absolutely amazing people.
Guys, in you come, guys. Come and stand around the back of this sofa here, because I think it's quite important when people do the most incredible things.
Yeah.
You should be in this as well. So we get all of you. No hesitations from you, Brad?
No, not at all. No, I just thought, do you want me to give him a chance? He come and stayed at ours. It's been fine. He's been at work, done a trial. He's loved his job. It's been his work's well.
Well, it's a real story of human kindness, isn't it? That there is some in the world. Well done, all of you, and it's a lovely, lovely story. And good luck with the apprenticeship
Thank
as
you
well.
very much.
Well done,
Second chance at life.
That's one of my favourite stories in recent times. I've got to say. It's just fantastic. It's so lovely to know that can happen. We see just great swathes of bad news all the time, so it's so lovely when you get something incredible. Thanks for watching. Click here for more This Morning videos.